If you thought the Pixel 9 lineup was a solid step forward for Google, then get ready, because the Pixel 10 series is shaping up to be something that could really shake up the smartphone scene in 2025. Google has been building momentum over the past few years, steadily refining its hardware while doubling down on its software and AI strengths. And from the looks of it, the Pixel 10 family is going to lean even harder into all of that. Whether you're a longtime Pixel fan or someone curious about switching from Samsung or Apple, this upcoming generation might finally be the one to tip the scales. Even though we're still months away from a full reveal, likely sometime in late summer, leaks and rumors have already painted a fairly detailed picture of what's in store. And while a lot of it is still unofficial and subject to change, there's enough consistency across reports that we can make some educated guesses. So, let's dig into everything we think we know so far, from pricing to design to AI magic, and a few big questions that still don't have answers yet. Let's start with the all-important pricing situation. According to one of the most reliable leaks floating around, Google doesn't appear to be planning any drastic price hikes this year, at least for the base models. That's great news for anyone who's been worried about the creeping costs of flagship phones. The standard Pixel 10 is expected to launch at the same price point as the Pixel 9, $799 in the US and £799 in the UK. That consistency could make the Pixel 10 one of the most competitively priced high-end phones of the year, especially considering the tech it's rumored to be packing. The Pixel 10 Pro will also reportedly stick to its previous price tag of $999. So far, so good. But things get a bit more interesting with the Pixel 10 Pro XL. This larger, slightly more premium version might see a modest increase in price, up by $100, which would place it around $1,200 in the US and £1,200 in the UK. It's not a massive jump, but it does raise questions about what new features or hardware upgrades might justify the higher cost. Now, the most unexpected pricing rumor comes from the foldable side of things. According to some sources, the Pixel 10 Pro Fold could actually launch at a lower price point than last year's Pixel Fold. Yep, you heard that right. Instead of going higher, as many foldables tend to do, Google might bring it down to around $1,600, with international prices likely sitting at £1,600. If true, that would make the Pixel 10 Pro Fold one of the most affordable premium foldables on the market, potentially undercutting Samsung's Z Fold series while offering more advanced AI features. Now, let's move over to one of the most anticipated parts of any phone launch, the cameras. The Pixel series has always been praised for its camera performance, thanks to Google's advanced computational photography. But it looks like the hardware itself might finally be catching up, especially on the standard model. Multiple leaks suggest the Pixel 10 will include a third rear lens for the first time, a telephoto lens, which has previously been reserved for the Pro models. This new 10.8 megapixel telephoto camera is expected to support 5x optical zoom, bringing the Pixel 10 more in line with flagship competitors in terms of versatility. That said, there's a bit of a catch. While the new telephoto lens sounds exciting, other sources indicate that the Pixel 10 may be using camera sensors from the more budget-friendly Pixel 9 for its main and ultra-wide cameras. That would mean a 48 megapixel main sensor and a 13 megapixel ultra-wide sensor. So even with the addition of a third lens, the overall quality might not feel like a huge leap forward, especially for those who already own a recent Pixel. As for the Pro models, the story seems to be one of continuity rather than innovation. The Pixel 10 Pro and Pixel 10 Pro XL are both expected to retain the same camera configuration as their Pixel 9 counterparts: 50 megapixel main sensor, 48 megapixel ultra-wide, and a 48 megapixel telephoto with 5x zoom. While some fans might be hoping for major improvements, Google may instead focus on refining its image processing and pushing more advanced AI photo and video editing tools. Now the foldable model, the Pixel 10 Pro Fold, is reportedly getting at least one upgrade in the camera department. It's expected to swap out its 48 megapixel main sensor for a newer, sharper 50 megapixel one. The rest of the lenses are likely staying the same: a 10.5 megapixel ultra-wide, a 10.8 megapixel 5x telephoto, and two 10 megapixel selfie cameras, one for each display. But let's be real, Google's secret sauce isn't just the camera hardware, it's what happens behind the scenes with software. And this year, Google seems to be pushing even deeper into AI territory. One leak teases some incredibly futuristic-sounding tools, like an AI video editor and voice-controlled image editing. Imagine being able to tell your phone, remove the guy in the background, or make the lighting warmer, and having it instantly understand and apply your changes. That's the kind of seamless, intelligent experience Google seems to be aiming for with the Pixel 10 line, and it could be a major differentiator if it works well. Under the hood, all signs point to the introduction of the Tensor G5 chipset. This would be the next-gen version of Google's custom silicon, following the Tensor G4 used in the Pixel 9 series. While early reports say we shouldn't expect a massive leap in raw power, so it probably won't match the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 or the upcoming Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 in performance benchmarks, the G5 will likely be smarter and more efficient. It's being designed with AI at its core, prioritizing things like real-time processing, on-device machine learning, and battery optimization. So while it might not win every speed test, it could still deliver an experience that feels incredibly responsive and helpful. On the design front, don't expect a radical reinvention. Google appears to be sticking with the look and feel that's defined the Pixel line for the past couple of years. Based on leaked renders, the Pixel 10 and Pixel 10 Pro XL will feature a flat back, flat sides, softly rounded corners, a horizontal camera bar, and a punch-hole selfie cam. The most noticeable visual change will be that extra camera lens on the back of the standard Pixel 10, giving it a more pro look than before. Screen sizes are expected to remain the same 6.3 inches for the Pixel 10 and 6.8 inches for the Pro XL. Dimensions are reportedly almost identical too, with just minor changes like the Pixel 10 being 0.1 mm thicker and the Pro XL slightly longer. Nothing drastic, but enough to require a new case if you're upgrading from last year's model. And as for when we'll actually see these devices, August seems to be the magic month. That lines up with the Pixel 9 launch window and has been specifically mentioned in recent rumors. All four models, the Pixel 10, Pixel 10 Pro, Pixel 10 Pro XL, and the Pixel 10 Pro Fold, are expected to debut at the same time, making for a pretty packed and exciting launch event. Of course, despite all these juicy details, there are still a few big unknowns. For starters, battery capacity. We haven't heard anything definitive about the size of the batteries in any of the Pixel 10 models. Given the rise in AI features and bigger, brighter displays, battery life will be crucial, so here's hoping Google either increases the capacity or improves efficiency significantly. RAM is another mystery, except for the Pixel 10 Pro Fold, which is expected to stick with 16 gigs. That's plenty, but what about the others? If Google wants to make AI a big selling point, it may need to boost the base RAM to 16 gigs across the board, or at least for the Pro and XL models. And then there's the color palette. This is one area where Google usually has some fun, giving its devices playful, unique names and hues. So far, leaked renders have shown familiar shades like white, probably porcelain, pink, likely rose quartz, and a dark green, probably hazel. But we still don't know if these are the final colors or just placeholders. Google tends to surprise us here, so we might see a new standout shade or two closer to launch. So now that you've got the full scoop, at least as much as we know for now, what are you most excited about in the Pixel 10 lineup? Are you holding out for the foldable, hyped for the AI features, or are you just hoping Google keeps things smooth, snappy, and reasonably priced? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's geek out together. Until next time, stay tuned, stay curious, and keep your eye on August. It's going to be a big one.